Brighton and Hove Albion crushed Crystal Palace in the M23 derby, or some people don't consider it a derby because they're not anywhere in the near vicinity. But the two teams hate each other a lot. Crystal Palace are a team that are in complete free fall, and Steve Parish has a lot of problems. And I do not envisage a couple of more weeks passing by before Roy Hodgson would possibly be relieved of his duties. And it's pretty sad because he has come in and helped Crystal Palace on a few occasions that they really needed him to, especially after the Patrick Vieira appointment. And I still do think that the fact that they let go of Patrick Vieira was a poor decision because he had been going through a very tough run of fixtures. I think during that period, they faced Manchester City, they faced Liverpool. So they had a very tough run of fixtures. And by the time they appointed Roy Hodgson, the fixture list got a little bit more forgiving and they managed to get out of trouble. But this time they are going to need to come up with a plan very quickly, because if they look down below them, Luton Town are picking up points and they look as though they really want to stay in the Premier League. And Crystal Palace, not that they don't want to stay in the Premier League, but Crystal Palace are not giving off the air of a team that looks as though they are going to survive. Even the fact that they managed to beat Sheffield United last game day with a 3-2 victory, it was a come-from-behind victory. And you can tell that both teams are going to be ill-equipped to survive. So a game like today, when you're going to face one of your most bitter rivals and you give out a performance like that, is definitely going to give your fans a heartache. Brighton, who were also coming into this game not having a very good recent record of fixtures, they should have been there for the taking. And I know that Brighton are a much better team than Crystal Palace, but Crystal Palace do have a lot of good players. And the sad fact is that they can't keep Olise fit, and he seems to have hobbled off with another injury. Eze is a fantastic player, but he seems very inconsistent. And that one-man wrecking crew that they had in Wilfred Zaha is gone, and they can't really depend on him anymore. He's gone. That chapter is done. And if they keep on going in this same vein, they're going to be out there. The likes of Burnley and Sheffield United are quite possibly gone. I don't see Sheffield United getting out of the mire that they're in. Burnley have somewhat of a slight chance, but they would need to start picking up points extremely fast. And in that bottom three, you can see now Everton having dropped into that. Everton, Luton Town, Nottingham Forest also have the capability to, and Brentford, who have even Tony, who is going to be extremely important for them towards the end of the season. That's where the battle is going to lie. I do think that if Crystal Palace do not watch out, they will get that bottom three completed, because they just don't keep playing well. And it doesn't matter what Roy Hodgson does. And he seemed as though he has tried everything he could to motivate the team. And maybe there might be a disconnect as far as his managerial tactics, and whether he has evolved enough to be able to innovate is definitely not happening, because Crystal Palace are not good. On the other side, Brighton can count on a game that, one, they crushed their rivals, so they're going to give their fans a very good night. But on the other hand, they also need to reignite themselves, because they have fallen away pretty badly from any type of top four conversation, because at the start of the season, they were playing very well. And I, in some games, thought that they might be able to threaten at least the top five, because we don't know if number 5 is going to be the extra Champions League spot for England. So that should have been something that Brighton should be going for. But they should be at least fighting for that Europa League spot. Now, they're going to have to contend with Aston Villa, Tottenham, Manchester United, Newcastle. And while I do think that Tottenham, Aston Villa, and Manchester United are more in the top four conversation, I do think that Brighton should be able to at least secure 6th or 7th. And there's also West Ham over there, who have been trucking along fairly consistently. So not a bad victory for Brighton. For Crystal Palace, there's a lot of things to be worried about. And I am not too sure that Roy Hodgson can take any more defeats. I'm pretty sure Crystal Palace will try and pull the plug on him in the next 3 or 4 games if they don't do anything any sooner. Their capitulation against Arsenal was awful, because Arsenal had been on a bad run, and that was a good game for Arsenal to get. And they got some respite from Sheffield United, but Sheffield United, as we saw today against Aston Villa, against a proper team that's fighting for title or top 4, wherever you want to put them, they were dismantled easily. So that tells you that Crystal Palace is just a notch higher than Sheffield United, and Sheffield United are not a team that you want to emulate at the moment. But this is a very tough run for Crystal Palace. I know that if you are a fan of a team that has stuck along in the Premier League, especially in the mid-table area for long enough, you would want to see them kick on. And now they're looking at Brighton kicking on. They're looking at West Ham kicking on. And then they look at other teams that are below them that are scaring the living daylights out of them, like Luton Town. They have cause to be angry at Steve Parish and at Roy Hodgson. But anyway, guys, let me know what you think down below. Do you think Crystal Palace are going to be able to make it through to the end of the season? I think that of all the teams that are in and around that area with the Evertons and the Nottingham Forests and your Brentfords, I think that Crystal Palace are the ones who are most ill-placed to complete that bottom three, because I do think that Luton Town have the capacity to survive. And they probably do deserve to survive because they are showing a lot more fight than Crystal Palace, who accumulated a lot of their points earlier on in the season, and now they are just in complete freefall. But anyway, guys, it's been your boy Izzy. Thank you for watching. I appreciate the privilege of your support. And until the next time, peace.